And we are live. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to another live with Global Sisters Connection. I'm Nicole Black, and this is the channel where Black women are on the agenda. We have discussions concerning Black women's health that includes mental, physical health. We discuss social issues, traveling, and small scale finance. Not much. If I know something, I'll share it. But yeah, thank you for tuning in this evening. I'm glad to be here with you all. I know I pushed this live back a couple days. I do apologize for that, but just had some stuff going on. But I'm here this evening to talk about student loans for Black women, and are we creating the next generation of Black women um, with our daughters? And is it worth it? Is all of it worth it? That's what I'm here to talk about today. So if anyone comes into the chat, feel free to comment and ask questions about anything today. We're going to be I'm going to be sharing my screen on some articles that were written by two other Black women. And we're just going to just address the issue. We're going to address the issue. We have a lot of YouTubers that talk about this. My concern with it is the hold and how it's affecting Black women. That's my concern, and I don't want it to be the future of other Black women. Being that maybe you all know who follow me, seeing some of the posts I have. I've recently posted. My daughter just had her 18th birthday. She'll be graduating in May, and from there, she'll be starting a new journey. Some of the journey I know, but it is my job as a parent to prepare her for that journey. But I refuse to make my daughter a future woman, future Black woman with the struggle of student loan debt. I'm not going to do it to her, and I'm not going to feed her and tell her that you have to have this debt to be validated in the world of education or the world of professionalism in corporate America or whatever venture she starts to go into. So let's get into it. And I also don't want my daughter to be stressed out. Let me say that because this has been a real burden on a lot of Black women, and it's created a future for them with frustration and fibroids, and that's a problem. That is a serious problem. It's a lingering debt. So the first thing I want to get into is I'm going to share my screen. We're going to talk about possible solutions for our daughters because we realize how important education is. But what type of education are we talking about? These institutions, and another reason how this came about, I was driving my daughter and one of her friends. Shout out to Ella, my daughter's friend, who I was picking them up from school one day, and we were just talking about, the future schools, HBCUs, just talking about a lot of different things. And she said, these institutions are not even for us. I mean, she was just on that level, and I was just like, okay, I hear her talking. And like I said, I don't want to discourage our daughters from getting an education, but we need to reevaluate the whole thing about the education that they're getting, especially in the United States, when what's happening is Black women are being capitalized on, like their education, they're seeking education, and the system is capitalizing off of them. But let me share my screen. Um, Hopefully this won't be a too long of a live. I don't like really long videos, but I definitely want to touch on some information here. So you'll see me looking down at my notes because I definitely don't want to miss anything. Let's see here. I am going to share my screen. Okay, share. Okay. Yes, I am sharing my screen. Hold on. Hold on one second. Chrome tab. Here we go. This is the one I want to share. And let me just double check here and make sure. Yep, I am sharing my screen. And I want to talk about this article here. It's with the edtrust.org. Now, I've never really read articles on them, but I was doing some research, which is another reason actually why this video was postponed. Hold on here. And quickly before we get started, this is just the title of the article, as you all can see, is How Black Women Experience Student Debt. Now it's stating here that women hold nearly 2/3 of the 1.7 trillion in student loans. This crisis especially impacts Black women who live at the intersection of two marginalized identities. Okay, so, and this is a current article, and it was written and published on April 7th of this year, and it was written by Victoria Jackson. She's Assistant Director of Higher Education Policy. So, as you all can see, she's a Black woman with the same concern that I have and want to address this issue. And let me go back. And also Brittany Williams, also another Black woman who cares about the issues and the concerns that I have addressing this issue. Okay. Now let's get into it. Now, as we know, Black women are very ambitious. We have goals and dreams that we'd like to pursue just like anyone else. And we have made strides in that. But let me quickly just read this really quick. It says 45 million Americans collectively owe 1.7 trillion in student loan debt, and the women hold nearly 2/3 of it. But because of the gender pay gap, women are more likely than men to have trouble paying off their debt. Black borrowers are the group most negatively affected by student loans in a large part because of systemic racism and inequitable distribution of wealth, a stratified labor market, and rising college costs. Because Black women exist at the intersection of two marginalized identities and experience sexism and racism at the same time, they make less money and often need to borrow more to cover the cost of attendance and struggling significantly with the repayment. Okay. And they gave student loan debt a really good name. They called it the Jim Crow debt. And the reason why I'm agreeing with that name is because it's holding back a lot of women doing things. Now, there's a lot of different YouTubers that I follow. There are a lot of different YouTubers, communities that I follow. I love to follow a lot of women that are looking to move abroad, traveling, and things like that. That's just a portion of some that I follow. I follow a lot, and these women have, you know, looking to travel abroad, whether it's Africa, South America, wherever they're looking to go. But they're realizing that I've paid off all of my debt. I've done everything that I needed to do. But the only thing that's lingering over my head is student loan debt. So this is a major issue. And the reason why, again, that I'm addressing this is because I have a daughter that, I have to send out into the world with skill, for her to gain skills, a lot of different things. But I think that we need to rethink this thing as parents to not create the next generation of Black women with student loan debt. Now, there are, let's see here, some more statistics that I'd like to share. Hold on one second. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and then reshare again. Bear with me one moment here. Window, Chrome tab, and this one, share. Okay. Now this breaks down student loan debt by race. But I know previous statistics have shown that Black women outweigh men when it comes to college graduates. And this is not about competition at all. Again, this channel is about Black women, and they're the topic of this discussion today because they're holding a large majority of this student loan debt. Um, Now, here they have a reported highlight stating, and again, this is an updated um, recent article published June 13th of 2022. It says student loan debt statistics among racial and ethnic groups reflect dramatic differences in financial health, habits, and resource availability from one community to the next. It says Black and African American college graduates owe an average of $25,000 more in student loan debt than white college graduates. For years after graduation, 48% of Black students owe an average of 12.5% more than they borrowed, and that is likely due to interest. Um, Black and African American student borrowers are the most likely to struggle financially due to student loan debt, with 29% making monthly payments of $350 or more. 54% of all student loan debt is held by white Caucasian student borrowers. That's what they say. Okay. But we make up a minority group and hold a large percentage like of the debt. So now that I am back, let's see, I'm going to stop sharing. And let me see. I hope you can't hear that because it's a TV on in another room. Let's see here. Now, I wanted to definitely touch on some points before I forget. So I'm looking down at my notes. But one thing we want to do is, and bear with me 1 second here. I'm going to make sure there's no background noise. Okay, so it stopped. Is we want to give our children a fresh start. Give them a fresh start. You don't need them coming out after graduation or whatever they're pursuing with debt. And then you need to consider, like, are they going to inherit property from you? What is it that you're doing to give them a start, a push out into the world? We don't want to continue to create this cycle of debt for our children, to hold titles with a company. And I think part of what we need to really start doing is teaching our children entrepreneurship. Like, the first thing students do after they get out of college is look for a job. That's the majority of what they do. And then that allows them to capitalize, what that does is allow a corporation, an industry, to capitalize on their knowledge and skills. And what we should be doing is teaching our children to capitalize on their own skills and knowledge at this point. Like, entrepreneurship for them needs to be a thing. And, a big thing that I don't know about most of you, but the value of a degree to me, if you're not going to be like a medical doctor, in the medical field, specifically focusing on some things, and does a lot of those things focus on, like, for instance, if you're a Black woman and you're a gynecologist. Do you understand? If that's what you want to study is gynecology, are you studying it at a pace to where, it's focusing on some of the health issues that are concerning Black women? Is it effective in our community? Because you have to realize the base of our education that we're receiving in a lot of these institutions are not based off of us as individuals. You're not just Black women, but us as Black people. And, that we have to consider. So, first thing you need to do, like, instead of worrying about them coming out all the time with these degrees to seek these titles that companies validate us with, or that we allow them to validate us with. The one good thing for us to do as parents is to basically have our children learn skills, because you can have women. I know plenty of people who are in their 40s, 50s, looking to step away from the jobs, but have no skills outside of working for these companies. Let them learn something outside of the box of just, oh, you need to get experience doing this, get experience with this company. Let them get experience in entrepreneurship, learning to capitalize off of their own skills and stop sleeping. I mean, before, like, community colleges used to be looked down on, but if you as a parent can actually write a check for a community college tuition, especially for the first 2 years of prereqs, versus them going to a university just to say my baby is at this university and they don't have a full ride of scholarship, and you can, as a parent, write a check or have their whole tuition covered at a community college for the first 2 years, at least with prereqs. I mean, we as Black women at this point, if you're um, a certain generation and you have an education, you know now that it's ways to maneuver through this system, through this corporate world. It's a way to maneuver. And that's a way that we need to be teaching our daughters now. We don't want them, again, we don't want their futures to be full of frustration and fibroids. That's what we don't need. Let's lower their stress levels. Teach them a different way. And again, I am not devaluing education, but we have to, like, change the narrative of it. I definitely believe we have to change the narrative of it. Another resource is for us to start looking into possible institutions that are outside of the United States for our children. There are so many benefits in that. For one, they get to experience different cultures while studying. And I know people like, oh, well, they have study abroad for that. Yeah, they do. But you're still paying the same tuition that you're going to be paying at a university. They're still going to come back. So, what I'm saying is looking for them to get work and job opportunities or entrepreneur opportunities, in addition to an education, looking at an institution outside of the US. That's a great benefit for them. Traveling, looking for other institutions where your money as a parent will go further. Even if what is it? Even if you've invested from their childhood all the way up until they're 18 in a 529 plan, it's still an opportunity for you to make your money go further. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I do need to double check because I don't want to misquote and say that I think a 529 plan has to be used at a university in the United States. I could be wrong, but I am going to double check that. But if not, then there you go. Because what's happening, like I said before, they're capitalizing on Black women getting education. And you can say, oh, well, they're doing that with everyone. I'm not concerned about everyone. I'm concerned about us, and I'm concerned about the future of us and our education. So yeah, that's what I wanted to address today and talk about. Are we creating the new generation of Black women with student loan debt, and is it worth it? So I think I pretty much covered everything that I wanted to cover. Gave you a few solutions, looked at the stats. I will definitely put both of these articles in my community tab. Like I said, there is another video that I'm going to post this week, if I don't get it posted tonight, about a Black woman explaining her student loan debt problem, how she's getting out of it. Because we are resourceful. Black women are very resourceful, and we figure things out. But if we can learn from our mistakes, other people's mistakes, and say, you know what? I'm not going to send my daughter into this situation. I'm not going to allow her to come out of school with debt. Instead, how about I come out with her having a couple, you know, 20, 30, $40,000 to work with to start a business with, and skills that I've invested for her. She's invested for herself. I think that's a great thing that we need to consider. Um, but again, if you watch this on the replay, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. I felt like this was a really great topic, and I covered some things. If there's some more things that you'd like me to discuss regarding this, I'll be more than happy to address it. And Black women, get in the comments and talk about this. If you think of any other solutions, please put it in the comments. You can email me at globalsistersconnection@gmail.com. Actually, it's globalsisterconnection@gmail.com. And I'll get back with you and do another topic on it. But I'm definitely want to cover this topic because I am not going to allow my daughter to get into debt seeking validation of a degree. If she has to, it's not going to happen. And I'm going to take you along on this journey with us. And anytime that I come into some new information to avoid getting into debt for my daughter's educational future, I'm going to share it. I'm going to share it because I don't want the next generation of Black women to be the next generation of Black women with student loan debt. So I thank you all for tuning in. Again, I ask that you like, share, subscribe. And I have another live coming up this week, so I hope you all will tune in. Thank you again for watching my channel, and good night.